Hello, everybody. Let me know when you're in the live. Let's see if we can get caught up on the craziness of what's going on today. But not only today, we have a lot going on in the world in general. So I'll give everyone a couple minutes to get in. I hope everyone's having a good day. And we'll start going over there's so much to go over because I haven't been live in a while. So be sure to say hi in the chat. Hey, Martha, how are you? I feel so bad, guys, because I haven't been live, but I've just had lots of stuff going on. So we're back at it. Hi, Renee. Hello, hello, hello. Super excited to go over all kinds of stuff. There's so much going on. It's always something. I hope everyone's having a good, what is it, Thursday? I don't even know what day it is anymore at this point. There's just always something. So we're going to give people a couple minutes to get in. I know that Candace is probably like just wrapping up her show. I was originally going to do 6:15, and then I ended up saying, well, if everyone's going to be watching Candace, then we'll just have to go right after that. I'm not sure how long we'll stay live today. I have a family emergency going on, and so I am going to have to probably spend an hour, and then I'm going to have to attend to that because I have a cousin who got into a snowmobiling accident, and it's not looking good. So I'm going to have to do the live and then see what's going on with that. You know what, guys, hold on, my mom's calling, and 1 second, let me just make sure, because this is just a crazy situation. I'll explain to you guys here in a minute. Give me 2 minutes. Okay, guys, sorry. Thank you. Yes, please pray for my cousin Tim. He was in a snowmobiling accident, and they had to remove part of his skull because of the brain swelling and stuff, and it's just, unfortunately, it's not looking good. So um I'm my grandma is very upset, and so I'm gonna have to call her now, or it's just been a crazy couple days with that. Anywho, so we're just gonna probably start jumping into going over the Candace Owens stuff. Um, let's see. Thank you so much for the prayers, guys. Hi, Greg. Hi, Renee, Marty. Martha's in here. We got Katie. I hope everyone is having a good Thursday. Isn't it crazy how fast like time is going? I feel like when we talk about the Charlie Kirk stuff, we're like, geez, we're what, 5, 6 months in already. It's crazy. Thank you so much, Hope. Yeah, he's young. So, only in his 40s. So, just, keep praying for us. Hello. What is it? Sweet swine of mine. How are you? I'm so glad to be on here with you guys. I miss everybody. I hope everyone's having a good week. And hopefully you guys have fun plans for the weekend. It's Valentine's Day. Can't believe we're in February or mid-February already. It's crazy. Renee, time is not on our side. Oh, I don't know. Well, let's just pray about it. So We obviously have had a big break in doing lives, and I'm so excited to be back with you guys. There's just a lot going on in the world the last couple weeks. It just continues to be more and more. Um, and a lot of stuff is just like not making sense, right? Like we have more questions than answers, which is just creating this really charged negative environment. And so it's been one of those things where it's like sometimes it's good, like, and you guys know I pray about this stuff all the time where it's like I pray that God lets me know, like, should I take a step back and pause or talk about certain things. And I just feel like we're all kind of experiencing a lot of stress. We're all on edge and we're sick of the lies and we're fed up with so many different things. And so sometimes it's best to just like let things lie for a little while, you know? And so that's kind of like where I was at. And I just think right now, like I said, everything is so charged, the things that are going on, they're very negative, they're very evil, they're very demonic, and it's exhausting and it weighs on people's souls and beings. And so it's just, it's they're heavy things. And so sometimes it's good to just pray about it, give it to God, put the time into family. And I hope you guys have all been doing that and everyone's doing well and healthy. Um, so I want to start this off by saying, like, for people that really weren't awake or woke, as they say, what's unfolding right now is extremely heavy for people that did not really realize how much we've been lied to, how much we were being lied to, how far politicians in Hollywood would actually go. And so this is like watching a lifetime movie for people. A lot of people that felt like, oh, there's just no way this is real. There's no way this is possible. This just sounds so absurd. And the sad thing is it's worse than even what we know and see now. And that's just the reality of the broken world we live in. And so I just think there's a lot of people, and what I want to start off with is let's all remember. So I can't talk tonight or talk ever really. Let's remember just to be gentle with each other. And I love that our community here is so kind and so thoughtful. If anyone is mean in the chat, if anyone is completely out of line, we've always blocked everybody. I will have a block list a million miles long. I just want everyone to be kind, be nice. Not everyone is on the same path, and not everyone is at the same milestone, right? In their journey of understanding what's going on, knowing what's going on, and that's okay. And we don't have to be mean about it. So, sweet swine of mine, did you watch Candace? I found the question she is looking for tips on to be very interesting on their face. So I did watch all of Candace's episodes up until, and I took some days off, so then I had to get caught up the last couple days. Um but I did watch a good amount of today's episode, not all of it, because I was putting together things I want to go over with you guys just from like the last week of recapping all the stuff that she's talked about. Again, we're not really finding out much new information. It's kind of just going over more stuff that, you know what I mean? Like we already know. Like I said, we already know Turning Point is full of a bunch of questionable people, not good people. It's like how much more can you expose that they're just like really crappy people, you know? So, but we are going to go over a bunch of different things and we will go from there. Thank you, Marty. Let's see. It's the year of the horse. I love horses. It's going to get better. It is. Yeah, I love horses, and I actually have like a really pretty picture of like a framed picture of a horse in my hallway that I love. Horses are just they're wonderful, beautiful animals. So let's just start with going over the last week of Candace. So we're going to talk about episode uh 301, and I'm going to go back on her channel for a second. So basically, and you know what? I'll share the screen so that we can just like kind of go over some stuff. But I kind of like wrote down everything that's been going on so that in all of her episodes so that I can really recap with you guys. a good amount. So 301, we're not gonna play the episode, I don't think, but we'll just pull it up so we could see which one I'm talking about. As you guys can see, I was like going back and watching. So in this particular episode, remember, we learned again from Candace about the alibis continuing to crumble and that Turning Point can't provide information that everyone's been asking for months now. And my theory is it probably doesn't exist. So therefore, we're not getting any answers, and these fabricated alibis are they just nothing can stick, right? And we know that it's, God's work of all truth, will come out. It will be revealed. All darkness will come to light. And I think we're really seeing that in the last several weeks with so many different things, not just Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk, I think, is just kind of the one last straw that broke the camel's back in this situation. So, also, I do see a super chat already. Thank you so much. I will read the super chats at the end in order. That way we can just go through them. But I appreciate you guys so much for supporting the channel. I know I've gone over that they're bogging a lot of channels down. And so, like, my views are really low, and so it's, by no means, I know we're in an economy where it's really hard for people to support the channels, but you can support the channel by just liking the videos, commenting, sharing the channel with other people. And then of course, if you can afford to, have a membership or whatever, but by no means does anyone have to. I totally understand we live in a very, very stressful economy right now. But they continue to tell everyone that you need to listen to what they're telling you. It's kind of like they know what's best. Turning Point knows what's best. Don't worry. You know, don't think for yourself. Don't ask questions. This poor grieving widow, poor Andrew, poor Mikey, poor everybody. We'll tell you what to think. Don't worry about it. And it's really ridiculous. No one is buying what they are selling. We've been at that point for weeks now. I'm shocked that they are not picking up what everyone's putting down. Which maybe they are, and that's why you see this like crazy amount of like overdoing, like trying to control the narrative. Like, we can see that with them firing employees and so on and so forth. So that's been crazy. They fired 30 to 40 employees out of trying to figure out who the mole is, who's giving information to Candace, who's giving information to Stu Peters, who's giving information to anybody. And to me, that behavior alone should make people say, hey, obviously there's something to hide and they're lying, because innocent people who aren't hiding things, don't do stuff like that. So that alone is very interesting. You're referring to Candace's episode in your previous question. Yeah, I seen most of it. Let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna put this up. I'm talking about episode 301, where she was talking about crumbling alibis. She was talking about 9/11. And she was specifically going over, I believe I think this is the episode where she went over all the different um, stories that Erica has given and so on and so forth. Again, obviously they're still trying to set their narrative. They're trying to control the narrative. They're trying to brainwash and gaslight people, and it's on overtime. And my only question with that is, like, are they ever going to give in to the fact that nobody believes them, or a good amount of people don't believe them? There are, surprisingly, I'm shocked, people who still believe Turning Point and Erica has nothing to do with anything, which at this point, I don't even know how people could truly believe that. But hey, everyone takes time to get to arrive at the same conclusion as other people. Some people will never. That's just a part of it. She talked about Erica's mom being sick with Lyme disease, which, if you guys have been with me since the beginning, I know there's a good amount of people in this chat that have been here for a very long time. And so we already know that. I always felt like, is her mom really sick? Which, okay, fine. She probably really has Lyme disease. But I always felt like she was not with her mom on September 10th. And I've said that for a very long time. Uh, that would be something easy to provide if you were at a facility, that you were at a facility or that your mom was in a facility. She never did that. And so, and plus, Erica just has never really been honest and genuine. So it's like if she lies about one thing, why wouldn't she lie about other things? That's where I've been at. So, yeah, I just wasn't surprised that, here, Candace is finally starting to talk about the mom being sick and this alibi at 9:10 of her saying, "Oh, well, I didn't go to UVU because I was with my mom. And when I got the call, she made it sound like she was at a facility with her mom." That's, I think, what everyone thought. Everyone was saying, "Oh, she's in the hospital with her mom." And that's not it at all because according to the picture that Candace shared, her mom was in, I believe that was her apartment. So that's crazy. Um, and we all know Lori's, history with these contracts, and she's on like a bunch of different LLCs. They all have connections, according to Candace. We'll just say allegedly, just to be safe on this channel, from France to Arizona and who knows where else. It's just like they seem to be very well connected. Obviously, very well connected with the specific fort in question, and we know that her mom is just very well connected with the military, period, has a ton of military contracts. So I don't know. I'm just like, when did this Lyme disease become like full force to where she's just like so sick? Again, not saying that she's not sick. I look fine and I have lupus and fibromyalgia, and majority of people wouldn't think that because of based on how I look. So her mom having Lyme disease, I don't doubt it. It's just like, is it really as bad as Erica magically is making it seem the closer we got to September 10th and all this stuff happening? You guys let me know in the chat what you guys think about that, but I personally believe it's a little odd. I find it interesting that Candace said Erica only becomes emotional, especially in their meeting, when they would talk about her mom. Why would she not get emotional over talking about Charlie? I mean, I till this day get very emotional when I even have to have a conversation about my father. So I don't understand that. Not, is this like a to garner sympathy from Candace in the meeting to be like a distraction? You know, again, the don't question the grieving widow, single mother, daughter with a sick mother. It's just really getting old. This whole little act that Erica has going on is really, for me, it's old. It's been old. What are we even doing? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Um, Candace brought up a great point today saying like, poor Gigi, why is Gigi the like a scapegoat and everything? It's weird. So, she talked about leading into September 10th. Erica never posted personal stuff. Her and Charlie were extremely private people. We know Charlie was. They did not post pictures of their children, with good reason. I mean, the children I can understand because there's a bunch of weirdos online. And there's a girl that I follow on Instagram. I used to have TikTok. I got rid of TikTok. I left my TikTok up, but I deleted the app because of the terms and conditions they came out with. I'm just annoyed with this whole little country. We all know what that is. Um, and their terms and conditions were just a little fishy for me. And I was like, forget it. So I deleted the app. But I do find it interesting that we went from like being super private to Charlie dies. We have a picture of him in the casket. We have a picture of her mom in an extremely vulnerable state. I would never post a picture like that of either one of my parents on the internet. There's a certain level of privacy that I think everyone should have, and there's certain things that just don't belong on the internet. And Candace brought up a great point of, when you put a picture of Charlie in the casket on the internet, you open the door for being questioned about that picture and several other things because you've put yourself out there. And, for her all of a sudden prior to 9:10 to just start posting these vulnerable posts about her mom and pictures with her mom, I mean, is that not weird? It's very weird. For me, it's weird. So I just don't understand. Again, I think it comes back to trying to garner sympathy to keep people from feeling, like they should question her to bring on guilt. If you do question her and make you feel bad, that's what comes to mind when I watch this episode. Is it's really just for that reason. Um, Again, she made it seem like she was in a hospital or a treatment center. Candace shows this photo and she's like, "Oh, well, the lighting is good." And it really looks like that, this is in her apartment or a home. This is not a facility. Again, we've seen Erica talk about she was like, "Oh, when I got the call from Mikey, I ran into the parking lot and collapsed." I couldn't be there because I was at, this treatment with my mom, but it was at home. And again, okay, fine. Your mom is getting this treatment at home. But when you get the call about Charlie, why would your mother not go with you to Utah? Lyme disease isn't going to stop you from necessarily getting on a flight to go to Utah. I know darn well that if something happened to my husband, my mom would have went with me. I would have wanted my family with me, my mother, my brothers, somebody. She took none of her relatives. That's weird. Sick or not, my mom would have gotten on that plane and went with me. She would have never left me by myself. But then you hear this narrative of TPUSA is my work family, my work family, my family, my family, my family. I don't know about you guys, but I keep my work and my personal separate. And even though I can be friends with coworkers or get along with coworkers and those kinds of moments, I am not mixing my coworkers with my personal life. If something happened to my husband, I wouldn't be like, "Hey, so and so from work, can you come with me?" Something happened to my husband. We're talking about when this happened, this is the worst day of her life, if not one of the worst days. But you want your coworker with you and not a family member, not your sister, not your brother, not your mom, not your dad. It's weird, but I digress. I'm not gonna like continue to beat that horse. I thought that was weird. So then we can go into um let's see, the next episode where Candace is going over Charlie's schedule. And that was interesting because we'll go back. This should let me still share this. Yeah, it should. Okay. Just want to make sure it's sharing with you guys. So we're at 301. She goes over Charlie's schedule. And what was interesting with this episode was it appears that I hope this isn't going to play. Well, I guess I could play it with no volume and then we can get past this part. But they go over Charlie's schedule and let's see. Let's see if we can actually pull up the schedule. Oh, I think I had it actually as 28. Sorry guys, bear with me. I got to get back into my groove of lives. Oh yeah, this was another interesting thing. The lady who did like the photo shoot and is like, "Oh, that was for me," and like no big deal, whatever. Um, but so she goes through, Charlie's schedule, the treatment on the 8th. He had the kids. He took the mom to the treatment. And then she talked to neighbors at the apartment complex who say that they didn't see Eric on the 8th, but they did see Eric on the 9th. We know that Charlie came home from Korea on the 7th late at night. He did the Charlie Kirk show from his home office. Remember, this is where she was going over the photograph, which I didn't even realize that the photograph was missing when I covered the video of the note when Erica was so proud of herself with this reading this note. And then she realizes, oh, I'm not on the list. God's not on the list. I better put this down and like change the subject. You could genuinely see like as she was reading, you could see the thought process of, I probably shouldn't have picked this up and read it. And I felt like it was like probably the most genuine reaction or real raw reaction we've seen out of Erica Kirk, but that's neither here nor there. And so I just found that to be interesting that Charlie was with the kids, took the mom. The neighbors are saying they didn't see Erica on the 8th, but they seen her on the 9th, which Wouldn't you know it, this is where we have this whole fort thing going on. So weird. And like I said, he did his show from the home office, and that's how it comes to be that, hey, the photo was there. The photo is gone now. And then she's alleging that that was the first time that she was back in Charlie's office. Again, really strange. Um, Candace goes over the fact that Mikey called Erica, you know, um, and remember when he called her, supposedly he alleged that he called her and told her what went on, and she was the first phone call. And then we learned that wasn't the first phone call. It was his wife. And that phone call lasted 3 minutes, and then he three-wayed Erica. Would you want to find out what happened to your husband via three-way phone call? I know I wouldn't. That's not even respectful and normal in my opinion. So that right there is crazy. She went over Andrew Colvette falling into Erica's arms on the tarmac. But remember, she tells Jesse Waters that as soon as she landed in Utah, she went straight to the hospital. And then we find out, nope, that's not the case. She was on the tarmac for an hour waiting for Andrew Colvette. And then instead of falling into his wife's arms, he falls into hers. And they have this like moment. Side note, I don't want to sound gossipy, but this is like just how I feel. Like, do you guys remember that first episode after Charlie passed away where she was on the Charlie Kirk show and her and Andrew were like smirking at each other? Everyone is so happy. They almost have like this flirtatious energy to me. And it was very uncomfortable in my opinion. And that was before people were really sitting here and questioning all these things. Something about that felt very weird to me. And she's just like so happy going over the plans and like she's just got it all figured out because this is what Charlie wanted. And he's just totally fine with it. Mikey's fine with everyone was just way too fine with it, in my opinion. So that was like a whole other thing. Um, and then it goes on to talk about, Erica just continues to lie. And is this lies or misrepresentations of several different things? And then Candace went over, all these lists of I don't know if we should call them misrepresentations or lies. It's very odd because the list is long. We've heard about the Superman neck. We've heard about Charlie, she said Charlie didn't text anybody the night before, but then we find out that's not true. He texted Dan Flood and Andrew Colvette on a third party app, which she says, oh, I didn't, I looked through the text messages. I didn't know my husband was texting in these apps. So she didn't know her husband was using Telegram, Signal, WhatsApp. Like, how wouldn't you know that? She knows that. I mean, that's crazy for her to say that in the Glenn Beck interview, she reveals that she has the phone. Why do you have the phone? Like, was that an accidental slip? Like that she had the phone? Yeah, it's just it's all very bizarre, and to say she didn't know her husband sent these text messages is crazy. That would have been the perfect opportunity when she was trying to go over, like, why were you at the fort, for her to be like, yeah, I was at the fort, but I was at the fort because Charlie, was scared that something was going to happen. And so we got together and had a security meeting. He had death threats and so on and so forth. And so, therefore, we were having this meeting to figure out how we were going to address and combat these threats that he was having because we personally felt like something was going to come of these threats. And then everybody would have been fine with that. Her mom has ties to Fort H, we'll just say that. And it would have been better than what she tried to do with like the kids that don't even look like her kids. The ages don't even line up. The little boy's body is like way too big to be her son. That was awful. Um, but to say you don't know what your spouse does, considering you're walking around billboarding that I knew everything. Charlie told me everything. I have all these damn journals, part of my language, that show and tell me all the plans through 2028 that Charlie had. I know all this. I don't need any help. I've never ran Turning Point, but I know just how to do that because my husband wrote everything down and had everything planned out. But I didn't know my husband used Signal and WhatsApp and Telegram to have discussions. Somebody make the math. How could you know all this other stuff but not know that? Weird. Again, very, very strange. Candace went over how, again, Mikey called within seconds, but to his wife, and they talked for 3 minutes. If you were Charlie's best friend and this was so traumatic and this was so shocking, why would your wife be the first phone call? At that time, you don't even know, supposedly, that Charlie is deceased. So wouldn't you wanna call the wife so the wife can get there soon? Because then she could be there for whatever else comes with that discussion of whether it's gonna be surgery or whatever. Now we all saw the video, and for those of us who saw the video, I think everybody knew when they saw it, like, there's no coming back from that. But, I mean, still, I'm just saying. And then a three-way phone call, I would've been pissed if someone called to tell me that and I was on a three-way damn phone call. I haven't used a three-way phone call since we had house phones and I was a teenager, and I used to sit up in my room and talk to my friends on the phone, like Mean Girl days, you know what I mean? So that was really just beyond. And like I said, again, with Andrew Colvett, and then I thought this was great when she says that she didn't know if Andrew's wife was on the plane when it got to Utah. So what? Andrew's wife just never got off the plane? Did she sit on the tarmac the whole time that you guys were there? Excuse me? But her and Andrew had to get together and have a powwow so she could verify that Andrew's wife was there so that she could turn around and give Candace the answer. You were there. You guys were all there. What, I don't understand why we had to like verify that. Again, did we not rehearse the lies before we decided, hey, we're going to throw this whole plan into like action here? You guys didn't think, hey, we should all get together and sit down and be like, okay, these are going to be our lies. This is what we're going to say. This is what you're going to say. This is what you're going to say. This is what you're going to say. And this is the story. Any other questions, we're not going to answer them. This is the story. But they apparently didn't do that. They just thought they were going to do this in broad daylight and then jam it down everyone's throats. So no one was going to be like, hey, weird. And then Candace went over the obvious, which is Charlie was on Megyn Kelly's show or Megyn Kelly was on his show. I can't remember which way it goes. And tells Megyn Kelly that he's still working on his book. That was in August. And then you have Erica saying the book was done in July. And I have said for a long time, I'm like, I do not believe that book was written by Charlie. And if it was written by Charlie, it surely wasn't finished by Charlie. Ever since you see Erica on all these different press tours with this book in hand, I'm like, this book was not written by Charlie. I am willing to bet it might have started, but it was not finished by him. And I guarantee you that people who read that book or who have the book, if they were to look through it, the views in that book are not the views that Charlie had, because nothing that Turning Point is doing is of the beliefs that Charlie was, I'll just say, exhibiting, because we saw that and we heard it out of his own mouth. And then you have to wonder, why did they delete all the Prove Me Wrong tour episodes that were on the Charlie Kirk show or that were on Turning Point's YouTube? Why do we just have that year window of things missing? And I'll tell you why, because there's things that he was saying in those campus tours that do not align with the narrative that they want to continue with. Therefore, they have to delete everything. That would be the only reason that you would leave everything from 2 years on and from the day he was killed till now. And then you got the clown show that's on the Charlie Kirk show every day, really ruining Charlie's legacy with the crap that they spew. You know, Andrew Colvett and Blake Neff, Knucklehead 1 and 2, are not even anywhere a quarter of the intelligence of Charlie. So they don't even belong on there. And she didn't want to be morbid and have his Instagram continue to post under him like he's still alive, but yet it was okay for his podcast show on YouTube to do that. Weird. Weird how it's good for one platform and not the other. Again, the convenience that Turning Point moves with is wild to me. Another interesting highlight was Erica was with Tracy Martin, who allegedly founded Dream City Church. Tracy has known Erica for years. They're supposedly best friends. And she was there when Mikey called Erica on September 10th when her mom was getting this treatment. Again, very weird. Where is Erica's sister? Where's her brother? Where are her siblings to check on their mom? Wouldn't they want to be there for their mom? Wouldn't do they live in I need to look this up too. Like, do they live in Arizona? Now that I'm thinking about it, like where the heck do they live that they aren't there helping with the mom? Why is it all on Erica and Charlie? And you don't even hear her talk about her siblings. I did a video about this. She doesn't talk about her sister. She doesn't talk about her brother. She talks like her mom, is a single mom, even though her mom and dad were married until she was 10 years old. That's a good amount of your life. Why leave these details out? Why make this seem like something it isn't? Why would you want to make your dad look like a father that wasn't present and didn't do right by his kids? He was at the Medal of Freedom ceremony in the Rose Garden. Remember? Because they literally called him out or shouted him out in the crowd. So why was your dad there, but he wasn't everywhere else? Again, make that make sense. What do you guys think? Where are you guys at with what I've talked about so far? I mean, again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm not trying to be mean, but these are all valid. These are all valid points. These are all questions that I think everybody has. Again, we're not really learning anything new from Candace, but we are learning, not really learning, but we're going over all the inconsistencies, all the misrepresentations, lies, whatever you want to call them. So it's hard because I want to be at a point where we're actually going to get justice for Charlie. I want to be at a point where we feel like our wheels aren't spinning. And I just feel like we're not getting that. And so it can be very frustrating to go over these things and continue to dig and look at something that is already so bad. It's like, how many coincidences, again, mathematically, do you have to have before there's no way mathematically it's not possible to be what they say it is? Okay. There's actually, I got to find that and I'm going to probably have to do a video on it. But there is somebody who talked about not even just from this situation, it was like coincidences in general, how many can be existing before it's mathematically impossible for it to not just be a coincidence. And Miss Erica Kirk, out of her own mouth, tells you she does not believe in coincidences. Well, guess what, Erica? Neither do we. Neither does anybody. Isn't that interesting? She don't believe in coincidences, but she's a walking coincidence. Interesting, you know? Now, in this episode, she did the open letter to Erica Kirk. If you guys want, let me know in the chat. Would you guys want to listen to that again, or do we just want to like go over it? You guys let me know in the chat if you guys want me to play some of it, or do we just want to like go over this, because I don't know how I feel about her open letter to Erica Kirk. I mean, I think it was more or less her letting Erica know, like, I know, and I want you to know for sure that I know. Okay, you guys want to watch it again. Okay, so we'll go over this because this was extremely, extremely interesting. And I wonder what Erica had to say about this because, well, I mean, she probably doesn't want to say anything, but let's see what because in the beginning, I know Candace talks about the Fox interview with Erica Kirk saying that she wants transparency and she's talking about her actions and, actions speak louder than words, like I've said in a million videos. And nothing that Turning Point is doing aligns with Charlie's beliefs and how Charlie was feeling. And so you have to believe that something's not right there. Because anybody who is grieving their husband and this is their husband's legacy is not going to botch his legacy the way they are doing, especially his own wife. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. She talks about information is being changed and deleted. You know, we've been seeing that for a while now. This is happening because they need to control the narrative. They need everyone to believe what they are saying. They need to gaslight everybody. They don't like how much people are digging. They didn't bank on so many people digging. They didn't bank on Candace, but they also didn't bank on the general public saying, hey, I'm going to get off of TikTok and stop scrolling, and I'm going to do my own research, and I'm going to dig into LLCs, and I'm going to dig into the financials, and I'm going to dig into all these things. And so when you realize, hey, they're digging here, you already know people are going to start digging all over the place. So how you get ahead of it is you just delete everything off the internet, which is what you've seen. Information either changing or things are completely being wiped. There's a lot of people now that if you Google them now, the results are nothing compared to what they were in the beginning. And especially now with how many people are out there questioning so many different people, this is why you're seeing that, you know? And again, it all comes back to if there's nothing to hide, why would you be deleting and changing things? Why do you not want people to know the association between all these LLCs and all these people? And if people were friends for however long, or if people were working together for how long, or what people's family tree is. We got people deleting who they're related to on dang Facebook. For what? If there's nothing to see here, there's nothing to see here. But they can't stop people from digging. They can't stop people from asking questions. So maybe if they say the same thing 500 times, we'll all start to believe what they're saying. Well, at least that's what they think in their head, right? So, I will play a few seconds of her talking to Erica Kirk because I just think that it was very interesting for her to do. And I honestly think like I said, it was a way of Candace let her know, I got your number. I know the dates. I know when you guys started dating. I know when you went here. I know when you went there. I remember this. I remember that. You're not going to fool me. I think that was like her letting her know, like, the gig is up, even though the gig has been up. Um, but you know what I mean? She talked about two countries being involved um, in the assassination of Charlie. I think a lot of people feel that way. Definitely at least the one. The two does make sense. That doesn't surprise me. And at this point, like, w- you kind of have to say where you stand, I guess, you know? Yeah. And she just reiterated she does not believe the September 10th story about her with her mom. And obviously letting her know, like, you know, I know, and I'm going to find out the truth, and the truth is going to be out there. So, is this going to do anything to Erica? Is Erica all of a sudden going to be like, oh, yeah, gee, I made mistakes, or, oh, I should come out and say this? I doubt it. I mean, these people don't have souls, but let's just listen to a little part of this.
I think that it stands in stark contrast to the actions that are available to Erica Kirk as the CEO and chairman of this massive organization. But exactly how massive? Anyway, I wanted to write this open letter to Erica because I know that Turning Point USA watches every episode of this podcast, and that people then take what I say back to her and they give her notation. So I would appreciate it if the elves at Turning Point USA just let her see this in its entirety. Here we go. Because more information has become available to me. I am feeling, well, I'm feeling some type of way. Here we go. Ready? Dear Erica, I thought it best to do this publicly. I think public conversations keep everybody honest. And there are some things that certainly need to be clarified because
I'm going to pause that for 2 seconds. And sorry, I'm doing that so early. Her saying that I'm doing this publicly because I believe that public conversations keep people honest is true. And I think Candace realizes that the behind closed doors meeting did not bode well with everybody. But I will tell you this. I do think that she knew Erica at that time was not going to do it any other way. And she was able to get Erica on record saying things and catching her in more lies. And so it was like that opportunity she had to take for that reason. But I think she also understands that transparency is key. She's pushed for that. And nobody is just going to take from anybody the believe me, bro excuse, which no one should. So let's continue with this.
Because sometimes the gap between the truth and the lie is what happens behind closed doors. You and Charlie began dating in earnest in 2019. And in retrospect, it was accompanied by a season of a lot of change. For one, I was getting married and virtually, therefore, joined at the hip with my fiance. He was sort of a new third wheel at all of our events. A few months later, on May 1st, the public was informed that I was resigning from my position as the communications director of Turning Point USA. Now, there has been a lot of public speculation as to what led to that decision. The media ran with it was anti-Semitism or some disagreement about Kanye West, but that wasn't true. None of that was true. The truth, and I think that you very well know what the truth is, because you were around for it, is that Charlie and I had a disagreement, which fractured my trust in him. He did something that he had never done before. He lied to my face about money. Now, in retrospect, I believe that the manner in which I discovered the lie might have been by design, but there's no need for us to delve into conspiracy when the facts are plain enough. Charlie had taken a meeting down in Florida with Ike Perlmutter at Mar-a-Lago. It was a fundraising meeting. For whatever reason, he did not want me to know about this meeting, and that was strange. It was meant to be kept a secret. It was strange because we had always collaborated on and taken those sorts of meetings together. Anyway, I found out about it, and I decided to ask him casually as we were riding up an elevator at the Trump Hotel in DC. I said to him, have you heard from Ike recently? And he looked me right in the face, just as he was getting off on his floor. And he said, no, I haven't. I haven't heard from him in like 2 weeks. And I then said back to him, really, Charlie, because you had lunch with him yesterday at Mar-a-Lago. And I saw his stomach drop. His entire face looked, as if he was going down a roller coaster. He stuck his arm back in the elevator really quickly and tried to explain it away. He then pivoted toward an apology, but obviously the damage was done. And if I'm being honest, I was as hurt as I was shocked and confused by it because we were close. We did go back down to the lobby. We sat at a table and we talked. I don't even remember whether or not I was angry. I probably was. That does tend to be my choice emotion. But deep down, there was a part of me that knew that it was coming because of a lot of the new hires that were coming into Turning Point USA post Kanye tweet. Charlie had new people in his ear that were hijacking his ambition, making him believe that money was the truest measure of success. Charlie was a brilliant fundraiser. Everybody knows that, but he was also young. He was naive to what the wrong money could invite into his life. And I warned him. I warned him in that restaurant. I warned him specifically about Stacey Sheridan. Everything about her made my skin crawl. I suspected she and Tyler had something to do with it. I also warned him about Schaefer Security and Dan Flood. You can check the text messages because you have them. And now I am left wondering, obviously, if Charlie had heeded my advice, if he would still be alive. I've also come to another realization that I missed at that time. Maybe the newest and the biggest influence in his ear. Who was that, obviously? It was you. You were the newest and biggest influence in Charlie's life. You kind of all arrived at the same time. And you too, Erica, you lied to my face as we sat down in that hotel and we spoke for 4 hours. But I want to be clear, it was different. You see, with Charlie, I could forgive him. We were always like brother and sister. We went on tours thereafter. But you didn't do it when you lied. You didn't do it out of naivety. You didn't do it because you were young and being pulled into the wrong direction by bad faith actors. Andrew Colvat was never going rogue. You knew that. Every single evil thing that was done to me was done with your blessing. And I consider the onslaught of attacks that I had to endure, they were evil. Because you knew I was telling the truth, and you authorized people with an incredible amount of money to attack one of the few people in politics who was actually grieving your husband. You knew we had a deep friendship. You knew I was telling the truth about the Catholic thing, about everything. You allowed these people to lie and to say that Charlie and I hadn't spoken since 2019. I mean, it's crazy how much of a lie that was. You authorized it, and I now know that. The question is why?
So we're just going to stop there. So Erica, I think, was in Charlie's ear. I think the people that were involved at Turning Point at this time pushed Charlie to do certain things and to associate with certain people. And obviously, I think he was being very much pushed around and bullied. It's like getting out of the mob. You don't get out alive usually. And so this is no different. And by this point, it was already an extremely hostile takeover. People had been infiltrating Turning Point for years. It was not something that happened overnight. This has been a long time in the making. You see a lot of whistleblowers or ex-Turning Point employees saying that they worked there in 2023. And at that time, they were already seeing this start to go on. There were new faces. There were people that were very much more of an influence there than should have been the case if Charlie was truly running Turning Point. So that's not like new information. Um, I've talked about this previously where we've heard about 10-year NDAs. We've heard about first day on the job. You sign an NDA. Why do we have 10-year NDAs, especially in a nonprofit? That's unheard of. That's weird. Again, why the NDA? I've worked in plenty of jobs where NDAs don't even exist. A non-compete, yes, but not an NDA. So that is really concerning. Um, it is interesting that everyone arrived in Charlie's life around the same time. I have had sources tell me that, um, you know, Charlie's friends that claim that, oh, we were friends for a bunch of years and like we did this together, that together, or we were like old friends from high school. That is not true. I have heard that Frank Turek, who claims that Charlie Kirk is like a son to him. This is all alleged, obviously, and hearsay. This is just what I've been told, that Frank Turek was not really known by anybody who worked there really until right before Charlie died. But he walks around and it's like, oh, my son it felt like I lost my son, Rob McCoy. It's the same thing as like the smiley face killer with Tyler Robinson. My son, my son, my son, my bestie, my bestie, my bestie. It's the same thing over and over. My question is, how many best friends did Charlie Kirk have? Because literally so many people are reaching to his name, claiming to be his best friend, claiming that he was like a son to them. It's weird. It is weird. All riding on the coattails of Charlie. These people are nothing without Charlie Kirk's name. Hence why they continue to use his social media accounts and his YouTube, because they have zero without the talent of Charlie Kirk. Not even comparable. So now they have the ultimate puppet who will do everything they want, when they want, how they want, no questions asked. All she cares about, as you can tell, is money, because we've watched her speak about things and it's just like, oh my gosh, the t-shirt sales is $200,000 and like it's climbing, guys. It's like the greatest thing. Oh my God, I can't believe how high the t-shirt sales are. I'm sorry, t-shirt sales would be the last thing coming out of my mouth if my husband 5 days ago was just assassinated in front of the whole world. And then she's like, oh, well, I never want to see the video. I never watched the video. I'm never going to watch it. Girl, will you watch that? Don't even lie. Like, who do you think you are kidding? You are too happy to be grieving. Grief is personal and grief is different for everyone, but it ain't that smiley. I'll tell you that much. It ain't that happy. It's not having all the answers 5 days after your husband was killed. It's just not. I'm sorry. It's not. What does she have? A 18-month-old and a 4-year-old. I don't have kids, but I will tell you that I have a niece who's almost 5 years old. And when I babysit her, I love my niece, but she is a wild child. She is a typical 4-year-old toddler into everything. We're on one thing, then we're on another thing, then we're on another thing. And I could tell you that by the time it's time to be like, hey, to my brother, like, you can have my niece back now. I've had her all day and I am tired. I can only imagine what it's like for people who have a 4-year-old and an 18-month-old, or a couple kids under 5, or 3, 4, 5 kids. Like, I have no idea how my mom dealt with 3 children, all really young in different sports and all this stuff. I'm not saying this is a bad thing. Children are a blessing. I'm just saying that parenting is not for everyone. And it does take a lot of work and sacrifice. And so I know that. And there is a reason why I'm not a parent yet. It's not that I don't love kids and it's not that I don't have the patience for them, but it's just that I don't feel that I can tolerate all that right now. So therefore I don't have them. And I think that's okay for people to realize it's just not in the cards for them and it's not their thing. And then you don't have them and then it's fine. Not to say that in a year I won't change my mind, because I'm 36 years old and I still have time and I don't know what I'll feel in a year. I do think about having a family, but I do not like where the world is and who knows what's going to happen. The bottom line is that it's very clear that the main motivator for Erica Kirk is money. It's all she talks about is money, 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 numbers, numbers, numbers. And that is not what her husband cared about. you know? So it is interesting that everyone arrived around the same time. You have all these people claiming to be his best friend. You have all these people claiming to be a father figure. It's just all very convenient. I'm not going to play the rest of the statement because I know a lot of people didn't want, they were like, just go over it. So I just want to show a little bit of it. This is also the episode where she showed Aubrey's video, who worked for Andrew Colvett and Turning Point and was let go because of the Uber driver incident, which is absolutely wild. It's a right to work state, nothing you can do, but still crazy that was going on. A lot of people were like, "Oh, that wasn't just like a random like incident, like they were spying on her." It's possible. We don't know. We don't know the truth. I mean, it's all very bizarre. What are the odds that that person would get in the Uber and that person would bring up the daughter being friends or used to be friends with this person? Who knows? At the end of the day, can you imagine working 80-hour weeks, standing with a company that deep down you don't feel that things are adding up? You stand there, you continue to work and give everything you're all going into AmFest. And then next, you're sat down told like, hey, you got to go because an Uber driver that said, oh, my daughter was friends with this girl. Like, it's just all hearsay. It's weird. Oh, yeah, America's pastor. He's a trip. He's not my pastor. I know that. And then she also goes over in this video the Justin Strife situation with him lying about Pierre DuPont and the donation offer and the weird phone call after Charlie passed away. And then she went on to key things that I've talked about over and over again, about how Turning Point is just doing nothing that lines up with what Charlie was doing, what he was feeling, what he was talking about publicly before all this happened. And so it just gives you a really good idea of like what's going on there. Because if it was really about Charlie, these things would not be going on. She touched a little bit on, Ben Shapiro, which the whole Ben Shapiro thing is so funny because another one, Charlie was my friend. I'm going to pick up the bloody microphone. It's like, sit down, Ben. Like, just sit down. I've never liked him. So like, he's one that as soon as I see, I'm just like cringing, I'm surprised he continues to get online and open his mouth and act the way he does because again, I think the analytics of his YouTube and him on social media really tells you how people really feel about him. But yeah, he still thinks he could get up there and let me just like pretend like we're friends and I'm liked. It's so funny. It's funny that they're like, oh, what did Candace say? Pay to play when it came to AmFest. It's just so funny. Everything about him and some of these people you have to laugh at because it's honestly that ridiculous. She went into the purge that went on with TPUSA. We talked about that earlier about the 30, 40 employees, trying to figure out who the mole is. And this is where she went over like the donation account that was set up. She's like, TPUSA, can you even donate $100 to the fund of the people that like you fired without giving like a severance or anything like that? Because when you break a contract, typically you do. You just brought in $250 million profiting on the death of him. So this is how you repay everybody. This is how you're like, thanks for your hard work is you just, you know what I mean? Even if you're paranoid, couldn't you have given them a little bit of severance? Couldn't you have given the staff that stuck with you a bonus, like a small one, like a couple $100? Like they have it. Like that should be offense. Everybody who works there, if they're still there, like they should just quit because the company don't care about you. That's apparent. Meanwhile, the CEO that you're answering to is wearing like $2,000 sequin suits. What is happening? I could never look at that every day and be like, yeah, I'm going to continue to come to work here. Yeah, no. And then she talked about how Erica and Justin both knew Pierre for a while. And so there was that. In the following episode, she talked about the Super Bowl halftime. I'm not really going to go over all of that, them faking their numbers and the analytics don't match up and so on. I think, again, we all knew they were doing this allegedly. As I say, I think we're all seeing these like bot farms and attacks in the comments on certain pages and channels. I myself have experienced, if you guys go through some of my videos where it's like, oh my gosh, I love Erica Kirk. I can't believe you're like attacking her. And it happens all at once. Like I'll get these notifications on my videos and it's defending Greg. It's the what's his name? Oh my goodness, now I'm gonna draw a blank. The pastor that she decided to do this little tour with or whatever. They're defending him. They're like, oh my gosh, he's so good. And then it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're attacking Erica. And it's like you look at that and you're like, oh, okay, bot farm. And you see it on X. You're seeing it everywhere. Damage control. And none of these accounts have like photos and they haven't been around long and they don't have, you could just tell when something is just like a random account that popped up. And so it's funny that they think we're all just like blind and stupid, apparently, deaf, blind, dumb. Uh, I have to laugh at it, but you can tell because the comments are like so defensive. And it's like, I can't meet one person that's like, yeah, I totally love Eric Kirk. I believe everything they're saying. And I think they're a great company. No, it's not Rob, you guys. Greg Laurie. That's who it is. Thank you, Katie. Um, yeah, Greg Laurie's great. I can't believe it's so offensive. I'm unfollowing you. I'm unsubscribing. Well, bye. Toodaloo. Tootaloo. You know what I mean? Don't announce your departure. What my grandma says, don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. Like, I'm not trying to be mean, guys. I'm actually trying to be comical. It is what it is, right? Then the episode that whoops. Hold on. Okay, you guys. Sorry. I accidentally hit the button. I got to get back into doing lives again because I'm obviously not doing that good with it. But it was episode 306, which I think is from yesterday. Yes, yesterday. Okay. She talks about Gigi's room and that Charlie slept in there, and that Gigi and Erica both slept in his bed, and he came in the room in the morning with to get the wedding band. UVU is going to be the best day ever. This is going to be the most exciting thing. She talked about her experience with UVU being there with Charlie before. It's like it wasn't that great, so she's like, I don't understand why it'd be the best day ever. Why was Gigi up in the middle of the night? Was there a fight? Toddlers are usually in REM sleep in the middle of the night, and kids are usually hard sleepers, especially toddlers. Like when they're asleep, like nothing's getting them up. So that is interesting. I mean, obviously everyone's different, but like it is, you know, it just was weird. She went over the Glenn Beck interview where Erica goes over the note that I did a video on, where she's, obviously you can see very disturbed when she realizes what the note says. And spills on accident that she has the phone. Why does she have the phone? Why wasn't it seized? Any other criminal case that you see like this, the phone would not be given back by now. Um, so that's weird. Does she really have the phone? If she has the phone, why does she have the phone? Why is it not evidence? Why are they not running forensics for the data on the phone? Even I think look at Karen Reed. I always go back to the Karen Reed trial because Karen Reed didn't get her phone or car back until not that long ago. It's really weird. Alan Jackson would blow this case wide open if he was Tyler's attorney. So crazy. When he dropped out from representing Nick Reiner, a lot of people were like, I wonder if he's going to get involved in this case with Tyler Robinson. And I don't know if you guys remember me talking about this, but the attorney that was represented the Menendez brothers was going to take the case for Tyler Robinson. Elizabeth Lane talked about this, and she was trying to get the attorney in touch with Tyler Robinson. And then I believe she was told, I believe she was told, and I'll have to find this interview. It actually might be on my channel. And she talked about how they were like, oh no, he can't choose his own attorney. The prosecution determines who his attorney is. And like, it was really bizarre. So I definitely don't think that even if Alan Jackson said, hey, I want to take this case, I don't think they would allow that. And Alan Jackson is a shark. And yeah, he would chew them up and spit them out. And so I definitely don't think they're letting Alan Jackson anywhere near this case. So I agree. It would be awesome. Um, but it's not going to happen. They already know who he is. They know what he's capable of. That's not, yeah. So, yeah, that's my opinion on that. I'll move along here because I know a lot of people are just, I can't tell how many people are actually over the Charlie Kirk stuff and don't want to go over it or where we're at because I just think everyone is in a different place, like I said in the beginning of the live. So it's very hard to, um, kind of gauge, So tonight we're going to talk about several different things. Um, Aside from that, I'm a new sub. Love the channel. Hello, Raven. Thank you so much for subbing to the channel. I am so glad you are here. I appreciate all of you. Thank you guys for spending time with me tonight. I know that there's other creators to follow and listen to. I know a lot of other creators go live at this time. So it's kind of one of those things where it's very hard to figure out, um, if the live is going to be busy or not, just because there's so many creators out there. And I think we're all, a good amount of you guys that follow me, follow other people that are talking about this stuff. And it's easy to get to be overloaded, you know what I mean, with the same information. And because I haven't been live, I really just wanted to kind of go over stuff and like kind of throw my opinion out there on just all the stuff that's come out or what she's talked about. But basically that is really all I have to say about all this stuff. As far as like the last, week of shows. Again, today, her talking about why are we blaming Gigi, poor Gigi, and it does seem like they are um putting a lot on Gigi. And I said this in my video a long time ago, like for a man who is married, why would he not kiss his wife goodbye? He was writing you love notes every Saturday, but he didn't kiss you goodbye before he left for out of town to do this tour. Um, that's weird to me. It's weird to me. And again, why are we putting the toddler and you in your bed and giving your husband probably a twin size child's bed? Usually your kid is not going to have a thick a mattress like an adult, right? So like that's not going to be the most comfortable mattress. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying. So lots of questions. Charlie was extremely tall, as Candace pointed out. So why wouldn't it be reversed? I don't know. I don't believe anything that comes out of Erica's mouth. So for me, it's very clear that it's like all a bunch of crap and I don't even really care to listen to it. That's just me. Um, yeah. And again, back to the halftime show that she went over where it's like um they want to make it look more crowded and popular than it was. I did not watch either show. So I did not watch the Super Bowl halftime of Bad Bunny and I did not watch the All American halftime show, whatever the heck it was called. Neither deserve my time and attention. Neither of them got it. I spent time with my husband and my dogs and hung out here and watched movies and gave time to other things. So, um, church, all that stuff. The lawyer that worked the Menendez trial is related to Terrell Farnsworth. I did not know that that lawyer was related to Terrell Farnsworth, but it's interesting that they didn't put them on the case, Carl. But thank you for putting that out there. I did not know that. That's something I'll have to look into. I reckon it was because Charlie was kicked out of the matrimonial bed that made him realize he was going to be killed. Okay, so you guys remember the video I did where I talked about this? So I talked about that there were rumors that they were having marital issues and that Charlie and her were separated. They were still living together and that he was going to be filing for divorce. Now, this was all rumors. And I did a video on it and I put out this rumor. I was like, listen, this is what's being talked about. And it's kind of interesting that he didn't sleep in the bed the night before. He was going in the room to get his wedding band. He didn't kiss her goodbye, but he's writing her love notes. I went over all this. And so, again, all that stuff is very interesting to me. And I do believe there's probably something there. And I would not be shocked if there were things going on. There's also a lot of rumors that, you know, he had said to his sister that he did not know who his wife really was until recently. And so that would also make sense to fit into all this stuff. Why did they have this huge home that they bought it was their dream home. They talked about, remodeling things and making it their own. And not even a year later, they sold it and they moved into a small apartment. Again, nothing wrong with the small apartment, but why did they do that? The only reason I could think of is if your marriage is having issues and you are going to separate or things are just not going well. And I could see that. And then you have all these other things that are just really interesting that they're happening at the same time or around the same time. So who knows, right? It's all really odd. So we'll just have to see how this plays out and see what happens. Justice for Gigi. I think that's hilarious. Yeah, poor Gigi. Now, getting out of Charlie Kirk, because this situation, and I will actually get into this, but I wanted to show you guys a couple interesting things. So there's a couple things that have been on Instagram that if you guys saw, they're very interesting. So I'm just going to go over some of those really quick. And then we're going to jump into the Nancy Guthrie case of her missing because it's extremely sad. Another instance where the FBI has completely botched another investigation. No one trusts what's being put out there. And it's just, I understand a lot of people are like, well, there's missing children and things going on with children. Why are we focusing on Nancy Guthrie? Well, it's someone's mother. She's 84 years old, and it is important. And again, I've talked about this several times as far as faith goes, that I believe that you have to be careful what you consume. And I believe we have to be aware of that stuff. And so, yeah. So I'm just going to leave that there, but we're going to watch this together. So Erica Kirk posted this on her Instagram. And it's like, oh my gosh, the love and joy of our marriage. She posted this like a day ago. And I about fell over because I'm like, she really is really gonna continue to lie to our faces that they were like so in love. I wonder how old this video is, but let's watch this.
Baby, what are these?
I don't know. It looks like John Fenner.
Where are we going now? This is the second stage.
We're going to the ocean floor. Decreasing in elevation.
Meaning what type of fish?
I have no idea.
I somehow lost my husband and my child. Are you serious? Baby! I was looking all over for you.
How was the exit? Did they finally see the big stuff?
I know. I was looking all over for you.
There was not like a big wall of fish anywhere?
No.
I went out the emergency exit.
Honest review.
For the record,
That was the core.
the aquarium's a zoo. A slow, introspective
Oh, sorry, guys.
of fish. I don't know what that was. Don't go here.
Where are we?
The aquarium.
Is that not like honestly crazy that she's still sharing stuff like that? Like, girl, we all know that you are not honest. Like, I'm not buying that. And then this is so funny too. Well, not really funny, but like this was another Instagram post. It was interesting. Breaking: Erica Kirk, wife of the late Charlie Kirk, says her husband's assassination was hard, but what hurts most is when people don't like Israel. Of course, that's her main focus. That's like the worst thing. Of course it is. Like, very fitting for her. It's just not shocking. So that was another one I wanted to show you guys because it's just, are we shocked that she says stuff like that? Not really. I mean, she's also like glamorizing the fact he's not here. It's just like meant to be. This is like God's plan. So like you can't be sad about it. I did a short on this that I'll post, but this was Laura Loomer saying it's time for Miss Erica Kirk to sue Candace Owens. She has gone too far. This is on X, and Candace retweeted it and put her own saying in there. Well, her comment. Couldn't agree more. Look at all I've managed to uncover by simply turning to the public for tips. Could you imagine me with subpoena power? We would go max. This is what I'm talking about, guys. These people do not use their brain. I am over here like cheering for someone to have the guts to sue Candace Owens because of the subpoena power. I know that Zach from Wolves in Finance is probably doing the same thing. He's like, go ahead. Because it will bring in so much into this space. And she knows that she's dealing with facts. Again, if this is slander and defamation, sue her. She is not one to back down. And there's a reason that they haven't sued her yet. That's all, you know what I mean? That's all I can say is that if she genuinely was telling a lie, they would have done it already. They would have done it already. You already know, you can tell how Erica Kirk is. They would have already. So I just wanted to show you guys that X tweet. Then the amazing, fantabulous Mikey McCoy. Wait till you guys see this because this was like, of course. I don't even know why I'm surprised anymore what comes across me on X. Candace tweeted this. I hate to be a stickler for details. Erica told Glenn it was her first time back in Charlie's office during the interview on 12/11. So did Gigi ask Mikey McCoy to move the wedding photo? Because Mikey gave an interview a month earlier on 11, what does that say? 11/8. I need my glasses. And it was already moved. Again, here we go with another lie. When do the lies stop? I just don't understand. I'm trying to understand. Do they, again, they think you're stupid. They think we're dumb. And this is the kind of stuff that they do in our faces. This was posted by Candace, and she, again, tweeted it and put her remarks in there. And here we go again. It's just so which one is it? Did Gigi move it? Did Gigi have her mom move it? Did Gigi have Mikey move it? Did Mikey just move it just because he felt like, oh, out of everything on this bookshelf, like I got to move this one thing out of everything on the bookshelf? How many of you guys have seen this? Because I know a lot of people don't have X, so you guys like when I share things on X. But is this not the? It's just you like I said, you can't make it up. It's something. It's a lot of special somethings at this point. So I wanted to show that to you guys. Now we're going to jump into the Nancy Guthrie case because, again, day 12, we do not know what happened to Nancy. It is a mystery, a crazy mystery. Kash Patel has inserted himself in this now. And for him being the most transparent FBI director ever, the one with all the answers. He's just like such a hard worker. Why don't we have answers? So I don't know how many of you guys are following this case. Can everyone just drop in the chat if they're following the Nancy Guthrie thing? I'm just curious how many people are familiar with it, know about it, know what happened. This poor 84-year-old woman has been missing. Nobody knows her whereabouts. We have had no major new developments. We have had no press conferences, and now we have not heard from the family in days, which is weird, being that this was a ransom. And she has a pacemaker, and she is on several medications. Typically, with a heart condition, you will see people have they'll be on blood thinners. And so with the blood on the porch, it is concerning because an 84-year-old bleeding is concerning. People were on blood thinners. A typical, random small cut could cause them to bleed out. And that's why when you're on blood thinners, you have to be extremely careful. And so I know that they say because this is very close to the Mexico border, that there are ways for them to get medicine. So just because the medicine wasn't taken, it doesn't mean that she doesn't have access to it or someone couldn't get a hold of it. So we don't know yet, but it is interesting that they did detain somebody who they say they stopped him. He was Uber Eats, driving with his wife, and they detained him and let him go. A lot of people were mad. They're like, why would you detain somebody and then let them go? The mother-in-law was like, he was home the night this happened. My son-in-law would not do that. And what he said was when he started to come out, he with the, talking about the experience of being detained and, and all this stuff. Do you know about the Nancy Guthrie case? Do you know who Nancy is? Do you know who Savannah is? And it's interesting that he said that he was detained, and what they were looking for, you guys, when they did their search at the residence was Nancy's medications. Now, the reason I say that that's weird is because remember, I just said that authorities were saying that they did not take her meds. Her meds were left there. Now, you got a couple sarcastic people out there that say, oh, well, when you're kidnapping someone, you're trying to be quick, you're not going to be like, oh, go grab your medications. Well, in a ransom situation, the goal is to be quick with getting your money. And how you get your money is making sure that the person that you took, that you kidnapped, that you can give them back in good condition and in one piece, because that's how you get your money. So in this situation, yeah, you'd wanna keep her safe. You'd want to keep her in one piece. You'd want to keep her healthy, fed, whatever, because your goal is to get the $6 million that you're asking for. She was abducted out of her bed at 2 a.m. They're saying, they don't know for sure, by gunpoint. So, but now you have the person who was detained saying they were searching for the medications. And that's weird to me because we are being told that the medications were all there. And that's what's concerning because she doesn't have her medicine. She has a pacemaker. And the Apple Watch is obviously not with her. The Apple Watch was synced to the pacemaker, and there's all these different, it's just very weird circumstances around this entire thing. You know, who would want to take an 84-year-old woman who can't walk past 50 yards without assistance, who has all these health problems, on tons of medications? It's weird, you know, and I did a video about this, about with Savannah. She was in the Epstein files and the emails, not for bad reasons, actually for giving Virginia, I can't pronounce her last name right, Guthrie, a platform to talk about being Epstein's victim, what happened to her, and what happened to other surviving victims. Savannah interviewed her. She did several interviews with like Dateline and different things. And in the emails, they were discussing that, oh, well, she's interviewing Virginia again, or she's doing this with Virginia or that with Virginia. And so you have to wonder, you know, is this like a revengeful thing? Is this like a, oh, well, you did this, so like this is your punishment? Or, you know, that's interesting. Also, it's being said that her husband was about to testify against the Clintons. So could that have something to do with why Nancy is gone? I don't know. Again, we know these people are very revengeful. They don't forget. You may get away for a little while, and they let you think that you're okay, and the next thing you know, you're not. So we've seen this. I did another video talking about, you know, when she interviewed Obama in the kitchen of the White House, and the chef that committed suicide is in the background. So do we have something like that here? I mean, it's possible. It's also possible that, you know, you hear rumors, people saying that Annie and her husband were asking for money. The mom possibly said no. And now you have this situation. So is the son-in-law involved? It's really hard to say. You just don't know. But I could tell you 12 days of an 84-year-old woman being gone. Everybody knows most 84-year-olds are not easy to take care of. So I don't know what to make of that. That would be a lot of work. So who knows? And the any of those reasons could be possible, right? The governor is very frustrated. He really doesn't like coming out and doing anything with the press conferences because he feels frustrated with the public. Well, what I have to say to the Arizona governor is your state is a mess. We had all this stuff happen with Charlie Kirk. The transparency has been like nothing. And so, yeah, people are having a hard time believing what people are putting out there. And then you have Kash Patel inserting himself again in another state case. It's not federal. Nobody trusts him at all. So that's not helping. So your way of dealing with frustration is to just, not want to come out and talk about stuff and address the issues? That's craziness. But if you guys just would have handled the Charlie Kirk case the proper way, then maybe people would trust the authorities. Also, it's been said that people that live there that are local, even local law enforcement, really doesn't want the feds involved. Well, gee, I wonder why. Gee, let's really sit on that and digest that. Can you guys understand why they don't want the feds involved? Because I can. So again, not shocking. Earlier today, the biggest development was there was a tent put up. It was a forensics tent. They came back to do some work on the porch. A lot of people were speculating that they were going to pull up the tiles where the blood was found on the porch. Totally makes sense. The way they put the tent up was, I mean, everyone saw the blood on the porch by now. They didn't secure the crime scene. There's been a lot of weird things that have gone on with this case, like I said. So at this point, to put the tent up the way they did to really block people from seeing what's going on. I mean, I could see both sides. I could see protecting the investigation. But again, everyone, like I said, because of lack of locking down this crime scene, cars were able to pull into the driveway. People were ordering food to the house, like reporters or podcasters that were covering this case, who knew we had to be told not to order our food to a crime scene, but they had to be told that. And so they put this tent up to where you really can't see what's going on. And again, because of the lack of transparency with Charlie Kirk and now Kash Patel inserting himself in this, even though it has nothing to do with him. When people saw this tent go up and you can't see what's going on, everybody feels weird about it, right? Why can't people just watch the tiles be pulled up? What is the big idea? It gives people a reason to question what's really going on in that tent and if protocol is being followed, because up until now, it has been a botched investigation from the jump, just like what we saw in Utah. So, of course, you're going to have pushback. So, I want to show you guys, for those of you that haven't seen this and who are not following the case, I just want to really quick show you guys a couple videos of what was shown this morning, because I think that it would be helpful to what's going on. So, let me see if I can pull this up so you guys can see the footage, because it really was very interesting, and I could see why people are worried. So we're gonna this for a second. Sorry guys again. And we're gonna watch this Fox News alert together, and we're just gonna watch a couple videos just so you guys could see what I'm talking about, because again, it does make sense why people are skeptical when the lack of transparency has been there. So let's watch this.
News alert. Take a look at your screen. Brand new video just into our newsroom showing a Pima County forensics team in just the last hour searching an area off the side of the road near Nancy Guthrie's home. Several deputies were seen, at least one taking pictures, but it's not clear exactly what they are looking for. This new search comes as the backpack seen in these images is now becoming a key piece of evidence for law enforcement as they work to track down Nancy Guthrie and her kidnapper. But it's not just the contents of the backpack and how it could be linked to the person responsible. Some are also wondering why the person at one point in the images appears to be wearing the backpack, and in another shot, he's not. International private investigator J.J. Arms III joins me now to break this all down. And J.J., let's start with the very latest. Those images we just showed you of what appears to be a forensics team on scene. Why? What is so urgent, J.J., that you would have a forensics team? Some people taking pictures in the middle of the night, the dark of night. We know how dark it is out there. Instead of waiting until the sun comes up in a few hours, why would they be there now?
What I believe is happening is now that we have the video and we know the specific articles of clothing that the individual was wearing, that he was wearing gloves, things along those lines. A lot of times when a perpetrator is fleeing the scene, they may be geared up and gloved up and masked up when they're at the location. But once they flee the location, they may start to discard things out the window of the vehicle, such as rubber gloves. And those are the kind of things that law enforcement is probably looking for are on the side of the road. They may have found something, and what they have to do is when they locate a piece of evidence, they have to flag exactly where that piece of evidence is, and then they have to photograph it to show exactly where the evidence was found, how it was found, what it looked like, the position it was in when they found it, and so forth.
Okay, but why now? What was so urgent that they said, look, we need to stop what we're doing. We can't wait until the sun comes up. We just found something or have reason to believe there is something we need to look for in this area right now. Because I'm trying to put myself in your position. Would you have ever said, hey, go out there now, teams, get this information, get this data, get these photos now? Can't wait.
Well, I mean, we actually won't know until after the fact, but if it is that urgent, obviously to the team that was on the ground that found that piece of evidence, they think it's significant enough to warrant activity right now. The other possibility could be something such as a glove that would have possible DNA. And whenever you have DNA is susceptible to the elements, the heat, to the cold, to dust. You don't want to, you may want to try and get fingerprints, and you don't want the latents to be corrupted by dust or dirt or mud. So that may be why they're trying to get that evidence preserved, picked up, and removed from the scene as quickly as possible.
I think that's a real key point. You don't want spoliation. That's the worst thing that could happen at this point to the evidence. Meantime, let's go back to that backpack. What's your explanation for that juxtaposition in the photos? In the one photo, he clearly has a backpack on, and then in another, he does not have it on. Did he forget something? Did he come back without the backpack, make multiple trips? Like, what's your analysis? What's your explanation of what we're seeing?
So you have to realize he's not carrying a backpack just because he felt like carrying a backpack. That backpack is part of his equipment. That's part of his gear. And inside that backpack, most likely, is a restraint kit and burglar tools to get inside the home and to restrain his victim. If he's carrying you obviously see him coming to the front door with the backpack on, carrying his tools to commit the crime to the residence. If he's taken that backpack off, that tells me he has probably put it on the ground, opened it up, and has started to remove the tools that he's going to use to breach that door and get inside the house.
Final quick question here. Should they increase the reward amount from $50,000? Do you think that would break up in this case? Or, they're doing what they can with the information they have, or an increased reward, $250,000, $1 million won't lead to any quicker resolution than we're seeing?
That's kind of a fine line. In my experience, the reward is absolutely a good motivator. When you are in the $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 range, a lot of times that's not going to be sufficient to get someone to turn on their friend or their family member. But when you get into the 50,000 range and up, that is definitely something that makes people consider, turning in their loved one, their best friend, their coworker. There's an old saying, there's no honor among thieves. And once you hit that magic number, it definitely reduces that.
Yeah, and there's also an old phrase, everybody's got a price. J.J. Arms III,
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Really important insight this morning.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kill.
Okay, guys. So what did they say? Everyone has a price. And I have always said that. I'm like, everyone has a price. Not everybody, but a good amount of people have a price. So the next thing I want to show you guys is a couple X posts just to give you guys a good idea of what the tent looks like and why people were having such a hard time with the transparency thing. So this was Matt Wallace. When the FBI sets up a white tent at a crime scene, it creates a shielded private workspace that protects sensitive evidence from the weather and outside eyes. At Nancy Guthrie's house, the tent was placed directly in front the porch where blood was found and where the masked suspect was captured on her doorbell camera. It is possible they are trying to match DNA to the glove they found. I'm sure that's exactly what's going on. Inside the tent, agents brought video and imagery equipment to measure heights, distances, and the exact camera angle against the real bricks and archway. The goal was to build a more accurate profile of the suspect's size and movements from original recording. Day 12 is kind of late in the search to finally be doing this. Beyond late. Like, this is what I'm talking about. They dropped the ball so bad. This is standard procedure when a missing person case moves into the fine-tuned forensic stage. However, in this case, the timing and 90-minute duration indicates a potentially significant development, especially with plans placed to ensure it does not have any chance to reveal. So this is what people are talking about. And it is giving people the question of why are we working to conceal that so much? Again, not saying that this is right, but I think this comes from lack of transparency with the Charlie Kirk case. And so here we go. People are upset. Then we're going to show you guys a quick video, another X post of when they were done and they were packing up, leaving when they were done on the porch. And this is by Danielle Miller from Fox 10. Tent has come down. Investigators are loading up their vehicles. Won't answer any questions about the department they're with. Luggage tag on one of their bags says Huntsville. Interesting. So let's go ahead and listen to this. It's just 30 seconds. It's really not anything to listen to, but just to show you guys them packing everything up. Again, why is this being done so late? If you guys don't know this part of Arizona, Tucson, Arizona, has a light ordinance. So you cannot apparently, it protects the stars, they're saying, like people seeing the stars. So when she went missing, they would not violate the light ordinance, which you mean to tell me when there's a missing person? I would have said, if I was the investigator, I would have said, screw the light ordinance. And I would have dealt with like a lawsuit later. But they did not do that. To me, that's weird. Maybe not weird to everybody. To me, that doesn't make sense. If it was my mother, I would be mad. I would not like this. So again, just showing you guys what the scene looked like. This is 12 days in and now we're doing these sorts of things. To me, that's weird. To me, someone dropped the ball. Again, Kash Patel has now inserted himself. It's probably not helping the image of this case. We have not heard from Savannah anymore since the day that she posted on Instagram, seeming to go rogue and off script with FBI's scripts that they were writing for the family to sit down and talk to the kidnappers and answer ransom notes. After they agreed to pay the ransom, the kidnapper or kidnappers stopped responding, which is weird because they're saying, hey, we're going to give you your $6 million. Please bring our mother back. Then there was nothing. So in desperation, Savannah posted a Instagram post, and to me, it sounded more like her asking for her mother's remains. Like, we need this for peace, blah, blah, blah. It was very unscripted compared to everything else that we've seen from the family. Could this be Savannah coming to terms with the fact, her post that she finally posted today? But it's not anything where she's speaking, but it is her showing a video of memories of her with her mom growing up. And so it just made me think, like, could this be Savannah coming to terms with the fact that her mother might not be coming back? Does she know that her mom's not coming back? Have they released information to her that, this is now highly unlikely that her mother is still alive? I think we could all agree, an 84-year-old without medications, with a pacemaker, being taken at 2 a.m, even a healthy person waking up to someone in their home would probably give me a heart attack, let alone an 84-year-old with a pacemaker. But maybe I could be reading into it. Maybe a lot of people are reading into it. But I did feel the day that she posted the Instagram video of herself without the family that there was something different about the way she was wording it. And to me, it was, I don't know. I just felt like she was referring to more or less, can you please give our mother back? We need peace. And the only way we're going to get that is if you give her back to us, which was really sad. So right now I'm just going to show you guys the video that she posted today of the memories with her mom. And again, I mean, she's probably missing her mother, so that's why she shared this. But I do think, it's sad. I don't know what they've told her. This was posted by, it says from Fox True Crime. This was her latest Instagram post. So again, since her going rogue with that one post, we have not seen or heard anything from the family or her. So that's, I don't know, just like an interesting point. Like I said, could be nothing, could be something. I don't know. Now I want to show you guys, obviously because it's been 12 days and today is the basically that, well, not, I guess, the end of the 12 days, because Arizona's like, I'm Eastern time, so I think it's 3 hours earlier. I guess we have several hours left of daylight, so things could, something could happen today, I guess, or we could find something out here soon. Again, pacemaker, no meds at this point. I just don't think it's looking good. It looks, based on the blood on the porch, and we've heard about blood being on the porch and blood being inside the house. Did they drag her? Um, it's it's really sad. I mean, I don't know what other way to put it. It is really sad, and it leaves you with a lot of questions. I told you guys that Tommaso, the brother-in-law to Savannah, son-in-law to Nancy, a lot of people have said that they believe that he has something to do with the mother going missing. And earlier today, it's interesting that reporters were out there, and a neighbor of Nancy's, who's friends with the children, are that are taught by Tommaso, saying that all the parents are supporting him, which is interesting because I'm going to show you another report of someone saying that they believe that Tommaso's involved. So I'll let you guys listen to this, and you guys let me know what you guys think in the comments.
One of the news reporters with JLR is asking me if Tommaso is still teaching at basis or did he take some time off? No, you're not being coded. No one's giving your name. No one's giving your name. Okay, she's not sure.
Not sure.
She's not sure if he's. Yeah, she said she's not sure if he's.
But everyone there supporting
him.
him.
Still there? Yeah, she's not sure. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Is she a teacher there or something?
No, she has. My friend. I'm not going to say her name.
Yeah,
but she has some kids that go
Okay.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, because I heard you saying everyone there is like supporting him.
Yeah. Everyone says he was a great guy. That's what I said.
Thank you.
Yeah, everyone. My friend said 100%.
Sorry, guys, the dogs are
All the
barking.
parents are
Yeah.
supporting him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they all said he's amazing.
What's he teach there?
What subject?
Yeah, what subject? Like, was it biology or something?
Yeah, he's just one of the teachers. My friend, who I'm not giving her name,
Yeah.
she's a woman that lives here. I'm not going to say her profession or anything about my friend, but she just said he's a teacher at basis. That's all I know.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So that is, again, the neighbor who the kids are taught by Tommaso, apparently, and they're rallying around him, supposedly saying he's innocent. Again, interesting, because I've heard a lot more people say that they believe that him and Annie have something to do with this. Who knows? Possible. Money drives people to do all kinds of crazy things, and we all know that. We've seen it 1,000 times. Today, another piece of footage was released this morning. The person in this video that I'm going to show you guys matches the description of who was on the porch, what they were wearing. They were, I believe, at a neighbor's house, and they were trying either to break into their house or their backyard. I can't remember if it was both or just the one. But you can see this was recorded on one of their cameras that are outside. And it says TMZ finally gets a video of the alleged kidnapper, and they blur out the face. But by the way, in this video, the person does not have a mask on. So authorities can see the face of this person. So I'm going to show you guys that here now. And you guys can see they have two backpacks. And it looks like they are you have the zip up hoodie, the jeans. They have the two backpacks they're trying to put over the fence, and then allegedly they were trying to get into this person's home. How true that is, who knows? Oh, the dogs are fine, no problem. Yeah, they heard my husband get home from work, so that's why they were barking there. They know he's in the house. They heard the car pull in the driveway, and so they know. Now, what's sad about this is Nancy Guthrie had a dog, and the dog passed away in December. And so what's sad about that is we all have animals, and majority of your animals are going to let you know when they hear something. And could this have prevented something? Could the dog barking at least have alerted her to be able to get out of bed and either call authorities or not be dead asleep when this happened? It's possible. So I think that that's really sad. You know, her living, by the way, in a huge house like that by herself, to me, that is concerning for an 84-year-old woman with health issues. Um, and so I just wonder, yeah, the dog would have alerted her. And I think that that would have been helpful, especially if she's older and living by herself. I just think it would have been good for her to have an animal there. We might not be in this position if it was a bigger dog, probably definitely wouldn't be in this position. Dogs don't, you know, people can hurt an animal, but chances are it's going to deter people. And so that's where animals can be extremely helpful. Aside from animals are wonderful, but people typically, they don't know. Like I have little long haired chihuahuas. Chihuahuas are known to be mean. Mine don't act mean, but I don't know what they would do if a stranger broke in here. I'm sure they wouldn't be pleasant, but people don't know that. And so it will keep people from even, you know, targeting your house. And so that would have been helpful, I'm sure. This is a post from Hustle B. He put Nancy Guthrie case takes strange turn as neighbor inserts himself on camera. Watch this clip closely. Jason suddenly steps in front of the camera near Nancy's home and immediately starts controlling the narrative. He opens by comparing the case to bombings and other major crimes, then pivots to blasting law enforcement for being a basketball game. Then confidently says his gut knows what happened before stumbling over who he's even referring to. He brings up photos, calls it very suspicious, and then casually admits he doesn't actually live there. He lives 10 to 15 minutes away, you guys. So again, he's saying he's a neighbor, but he's 10 to 15 minutes away. And so, you know, he was saying that's a lot of certainty, a lot of detail, a lot of urgency for someone who wasn't even asked and didn't need to say all of that. Like, why would you just automatically just start spilling all this information? So I'm going to let you guys listen to this because I want you guys to hear what he had to say.
It's probably one of the craziest things I think I've ever seen. I've been through the, Gary Triano bombing. I've gone through the, seen the Elizabeth Salas case, but nothing quite like this. But I will also say it takes a lot of cojones for the sheriff's officer to be at the U of A basketball game last night instead of doing his job. I think it's pretty disgusting. I understand people need a break, but this is not the time nor the place to do that.
So how long have you been living here?
I've been living in Tucson for about 36 years.
And you live around here?
I live about 15 minutes.
Okay, 15 minutes. So what do you think happened to you? As you being a Tucson resident, what's your gut telling you?
My gut is telling me that it's the brother-in-law or the son-in-law.
Son-in-law. Why?
Just too many things. He had pictures. There was a picture or two that came out, and you haven't seen him since. You haven't heard from him.
Radio silent.
The other people have, the family, Savannah and, her brother and sister have done things. He hasn't been involved in any of it. And I don't know if he's trying to stay away from the limelight or what it is, but I can tell you this, it's very suspicious to me.
So, and then he walked off and was gone. So you do have to question that because you close to the situation. And so it was interesting that he was going through all that. Now, the next thing I'm going to show you guys is the last thing from this case is I'm just going to show you guys what the porch looked like. And people, like I said, for several days were able to pull their cars into the driveway. They were able to walk up to the porch. That's how Fox got these pictures of the bloody porch. And it took time for investigators to find the blood on the porch and the sidewalk, which to me is also very concerning. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to watch this. And then we got one more thing I wanted to cover tonight, and then I will let you guys go enjoy your families. And I appreciate all of you guys being with us this evening.
Here we go, knock.
Okay, so that was on Jennifer Cofind After's X. It says Nancy Guthrie, evidence below. The blood dripped clear past the front door stoop and down the walkway. If they entered from the front door, I see no signs of forced entry. Now, there was camera footage that shows them using brush to cover the camera so that they could unhook the camera. Again, they stopped and bent down to grab the brush to be able to cover the camera. In return, it kind of slowed them down. And so you still see details about this person carrying the holster in the front middle section of the waist, his gait, and what they were doing with the brick of the archway is they're trying to count how many bricks till he's walking back off the porch to see how tall about he was. They released that this evening. And I can look up actually while we're live really quick what that was. I know that they were releasing that information about who what the height was, I believe. So I'll go ahead and share the screen for that, and then we'll go over the shooting that happened in Canada, because the school shooting in Canada, that was horrible, and I just wanted to touch on that. So this is saying Nancy Guthrie live updates. FBI offers identifying details about man seen on her porch. So we'll just start this over. Maybe we'll listen to this little 2-minute clip and then go from there.
How were they able to get these new details about the suspect?
Yeah, Tom, well, the most critical thing they did was analyze that surveillance footage that was taken here at the house. That's how they were able to get those details, like his height and his build. The FBI is hoping that this is now going to help narrow down the thousands of tips that are pouring in.
Tonight, investigators back outside Nancy Guthrie's home, erecting this white pop-up tent on the front porch, the very place where Nancy's Nest camera captured those chilling surveillance images the night she disappeared. Inside the tent, they were working and measuring to create the profile of the suspect. The Pima County Sheriff's Department says investigators casing the foothills around Nancy's neighborhood have now recovered several items of evidence, including gloves, which have been submitted for DNA testing. The New York Post says they were there when this glove was recovered. Authorities have not said if that glove or any gloves sent for analysis are the ones seen on the person outside Nancy's home. But every potential item, a possible new clue 12 days into this agonizing search for Savannah's mom that so far has yielded no suspect or persons of interest. Authorities also today broadening their request for surveillance video, sending this alert out to people within a 2-mile radius of Nancy's home, asking for all footage that includes vehicles, people, or anything deemed out of the ordinary from January 1st through February 2nd, the day after Nancy was abducted. Videos like this one showing a man with 2 backpacks attempting to open a gate at a home about 4 miles away at almost exactly the same time Nancy's Ring camera was being disabled. 2 officials briefed on the matter tell NBC News the man in this footage has been cleared.
Each night we turn the alarm on, which we hadn't been doing for several years.
David Romano, who lives around the corner from Nancy, says investigators have come to his home twice now and specifically asked what cars they drive and if they have a truck.
No, we don't drive a truck. We're all very sympathetic here in the neighborhood. We'd like to help in some way.
The neighbors putting out yellow flowers and ribbons as a symbol of hope, as Savannah shares her own message and these heartwarming childhood home videos with her mother, writing, "Our lovely mom, we will never give up on her. Thank you for your prayers and hope."
And Liz, we know there are more new developments tonight. The FBI just upped the reward for information leading to Nancy Guthrie.
Yeah, Tom, that's right. The FBI has now doubled the reward to $100,000 for any information that leads to Nancy or an arrest and conviction of whoever is behind this. Tom?
And as you guys can see at the top, they're saying a man who is 5'9" to 5'10" tall was carrying an Ozark Trail backpack, was seen on the video from Nancy Guthrie's home the morning she went missing. So that's the height they are giving. She went missing on January 31st after having spent time with her family. Another interesting key detail in this is that the brother-in-law, son-in-law to Nancy said that he was dropping her off after she went to church. Come to find, she didn't go to church. She was having issues, as I said earlier, with walking, and she was doing church at someone's house, at a friend's house with a bunch of women, and she hasn't been seen allegedly since then. And she did have dinner at their house. I believe it was like a day or two before that. Yeah, reported missing about noon on February 1st. Question is that he is saying he dropped her off because she went to church, but really she was at a friend's house allegedly, and the friends are saying she never showed. So that doesn't match up. So there's miscommunication there. And so you got to ask that stuff. Also, the police have spent an extensive amount of time canvassing Annie's neighborhood, talking to neighbors, searching in the brush behind her house. And so they've been back and forth there a lot. And so that sparks a lot of questions of, like, why are they spending so much time at Annie's house where the son-in-law obviously resides if they're not interested in them as being tied to this at all? That's interesting. Someone did ask, well, what is the relationship between the Annie and her husband? And someone, I can't remember who it was, I think a neighbor, said they didn't feel comfortable answering that. So it's interesting. Did he allegedly do something thinking, oh, I'm going to shake her down for money, and didn't tell his wife about it, and they're on the outs? And then now, after seeing these videos, maybe some of these people might look familiar from the eye holes of the mask and stuff. And that's why she looks a little awkward in some of these videos when they're talking about her mom missing. And she's like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. And again, authorities have not handled this properly. So there's just a lot of questions there, a lot of doubt there. And so I just wanted to show you guys that because it is very interesting. The last thing I'm going to go over before we get off here is the Canada school shooting that happened. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen this on the news. Absolutely horrible. 9 dead, including suspect in attack on Tumbler Ridge High School. More than 25 people injured, including 2 with life-threatening injuries after shooting at secondary school. Yeah, this is horrible. I'm so glad that, even though I went to school, I was safe. And I went to school in the South Side of Chicago. It wasn't like, I wouldn't say the safest. Like, there was a lot of craziness at that school. But we didn't have anything like this, thank goodness, go on while I was there. And so it's just very sad. 9 people have been killed, dozens injured after an assailant opened fire at school in Western Canada, one of the deadliest mass shootings in the country's history. The suspect was later found dead from what happened to be self-inflicted injury. Police found 6 people dead inside the high school in the remote town of Tumbler Ridge in British Columbia, with a further 2 bodies found at a residence believed to be connected in the incident. Or to the incident. Another person initially believed to have died on the way to the hospital was later said to have survived, but remained in critical condition. The suspected shooter was found dead at school, police said, adding they did not believe there were any more suspects or any ongoing threat to the public. Prime Minister Mark Carney said he was devastated by the shootings. I join Canadians in grieving with those whose lives have been changed irreversibly today, and in the gratitude for the courage and selflessness of the first responders who risked their lives to protect their fellow citizens. He said, our ability to come together in crisis is the best of our country, our empathy, our unity, and our compassion for each other. The Prime Minister's office said Carney had suspended plans to travel to Germany on Wednesday for the Munich Security Conference. More than 24 people have been hospitalized, 2 with life-threatening injuries. And what British Columbia's Premier David, I don't even know how to say, Eby, called an unimaginable tragedy. It's hard to know what to say on a night like tonight. It's the kind of thing that feels like it happens in other places, not close by or close to home. Let's see, a police active shooter alert sent to people in the area described the suspect as female in a dress with brown hair. Police, let's see, Ken Floyd later confirmed at a news conference that the suspect described in the alert was the same person they found dead in the school. Police did not say how many of the victims were minors. The District of Tumbler Ridge issued a statement on Tuesday afternoon calling the shootings a deeply distressing incident for a community less than 2,500 people. We recognize that many residents may be feeling shocked, scared, and overwhelmed. The district said in the days ahead. We know this will be difficult for many to process. Please check in with one another, lean on available supports, and know that Tumbler Ridge is a strong and caring community. Tumbler Ridge is a remote town in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains in northern British Columbia, approximately northeast of Vancouver. And it just goes on to talk about the town. There are no words that can ease the fear and pain that that events like this cause in a school community. The Tumbler Ridge Parent Advisory Council said in a statement, "We want the families to know that the safety and well-being of students and staff are paramount, and we are grateful to the first responders and emergency personnel who acted quickly and professionally." Officials said that the town's small police force was on the scene within 2 minutes of receiving the call, and that victims were still being assessed hours after the incident. British Columbia's public safety minister, Nina Krager, said at a press conference, "Speed and professionalism saves lives today." Earlier, Krager said online that the news of the shooting was sending shockwaves through the community and the entire province. Police initially issued an emergency active shooter alert on Tuesday afternoon after receiving reports of a shooting at the secondary school at 1:20 p.m. The alert told residents to shelter in place, lock the doors, and refrain from going outside. The RCMP alert was lifted at 5:45. Floyd told reporters the scene of the shooting was very dramatic with extensive injuries. He said all remaining students and staff at the secondary school, numbering about 100 people, had been safely evacuated from the school. And he wouldn't comment on any possible motive. "We're following all leads to try to determine the connection to the shooter." He said, "I think we will struggle to determine the why, but we will try to do our best to determine what transpired." The town's health center was placed on code orange, signifying a mass casualty incident on the large-scale emergency response. But given the rural nature of the community, at least 2 victims were airlifted to larger hospitals. Shock Trauma Air Rescue Service said one of the aircraft from Grand Prairie, Alberta, was requested for the incident because of Canada's strict gun laws, which make it difficult to own both handguns or assault-style weapons. The country has experienced far fewer instances of mass violence compared with the United States. Still, the shooting is the second deadliest school shooting in Canadian history, and it goes over an incident that happened in 1989. Wrap these families with love, not just tonight, but tomorrow and into the future. This is something that will reverberate for years to come, he said. He later added, "This is the kind of thing that feels like it happens in other places and not close to home in any way that feels like for many British Columbians and Canadians." So that was very, very sad. Unfortunately, this is the world we live in today, and all we can do is pray about it. You can't live in fear. You can't be afraid to send your kids to school. You just have to pray about it. So, the next thing I wanted to go over was they did release information today about who did this. And we'll just scan through that really quick before we end our live. I'll read the super chats and we will head on out of here. And I will go live again this weekend, probably Saturday or Sunday. Probably probably Saturday. Let's see. Let me add this to the screen. And so it's just transgender Canadian school shooter who slaughtered 8, including mom and stepbrother, been seen holding rifle in eerie photo. The transgender high school dropout who gunned down his mother and stepbrother before killing 6 others at school in British Columbia, Canada, was seen for the first time and resurfaced photos posted by his family, including one eerie snap showing the smiling teen holding a rifle. Jesse Van, I don't even know how to pronounce the last name, Rutzlar, I'm guessing, the 18-year-old ex-student who went on a gun rampage at Tumbler Ridge Secondary School, was spotted straight-faced in several pictures posted by his grandmother on Facebook for his 14th birthday. "Happy 14th to our grandson, Jesse. Love you always." The post was from August 2021. I really hope that's not the picture his grandma posted. Oh, here we go. Okay. I was going to say, because I had 2 articles pulled up and then I ended up just pulling this one up. Another chilling picture depicted Van Rutzlar showing off a rifle and wearing a wide grin while sitting on the couch with another young child. launched the horrifying attack at a private residence in the remote community before continuing the carnage at the high school, where authorities said he died of self-inflicted gunshot wounds. Royal Canadian Mounted Police Deputy Commissioner Dwayne McDonald said Van Rootsler was born a biological male who approximately 6 years ago began to transition to female and identified as female. He was known to authorities as police had visited the family home several times over the years over concerns about his mental health. That's really sad. I mean, really young. And again, this sparks a lot of issues with the transitioning and messing with hormones, and especially at young ages, where, even at 18, your body, your body's always changing even as you get older. Firearms had also been seized from the home, but the lawful owner who McDonald did not name successfully petitioned to have them returned. A long gun and modified handgun were recovered at the school, though it is unclear if those weapons were the ones that were previously or had previously been confiscated. An initial report issues about an active shooter at the school Tuesday afternoon described the shooter as a female in a dress. 6 people were discovered. Dead inside the school, and the bodies of his mother, who was identified by CTV News as 39-year-old Jennifer String, and his stepbrother was only 11 years old, were also found at a private residence. Roughly 25 others were wounded during this chaotic shooting, with terrified students and teachers recalling how they barricaded themselves in classrooms for over 2 hours before being escorted out of the school. So that's really sad. You have someone who is young who could have made all kinds of different choices, and this is what they chose, and it's unfortunate. And this is where these hormones and stuff, it's a big deal. I don't know. I'm at a loss for words, because this is like the shooter that turns out to be somebody who is transgender, who is trying to transition, who is on hormones and all these different meds that affect your psyche. And at what point do we stop saying it's not the weapon, it's the person? Because anything in the hands of the wrong person is a weapon. A fork, this water bottle, a blanket. Are we going to take cars away because people mow people down with cars? I mean, you can't blame that. You can't blame the object. We have a serious problem with mental health, and we're not doing enough. And so this whole transitioning topic is something that people argue about, and I just don't understand at what point are we saying, hey, this is altering too much of these young people's minds, and at what expense? I mean, back in the day, people just cross-dressed. Like, you could, if you want, you know what I mean? Like, why can't you just dress like a girl? Why do we have to do all these, alterations that, like I said, affect our mental health? And unfortunately, a lot of them seem to struggle with, the identity issues because, of what they want to be and what they are. And, unfortunately, it's just like anything. There's people that take antidepressants and they work in the opposite way, and they become depressed and they become suicidal or whatever. I mean, we just don't know. And so, unfortunately, a lot of these situations seem to end like this, and you have several victims because of it, and it's not fair, and it's extremely sad. So, including for the boy who did this, and his stepmother, or sorry, his mother and his stepbrother. Stepbrother was only 11 years old. I don't know. It's very sad. So many lives gone. For what? It's just, you have to ask yourself. Anywho, I'm glad that we covered a couple different things. I know it was probably not the most exciting live that I've done, but I just wanted to go over those things and kind of talk about some of that stuff with, Candace and Charlie Kirk and all these things. And I definitely wanted to talk about Nancy Guthrie because if it was my mom, I would have done paid the ransom immediately. I understand that they wanted proof of life and they didn't get that. And, um, you know, they ended up depositing like 300 in that Bitcoin account just to test it out, probably to see if it would render a location or if someone would pull that money out. And it didn't. No one, the money wasn't moved. So I think they were trying to see what would come of that. And unfortunately, we're probably gonna be going into another day of where is Nancy Guthrie, which is it's really sad. I would be devastated. So continue to pray for Nancy. Continue to pray for Savannah and her siblings, and that we get some resolution, even if it's not the resolution that we hope for. I know that even if my mom was gone, I would still want to be able to get her remains back and have that peace and have the closure. So at this point, we can't change what's already gone on. We can only pray about it and hope that there's some resolve here soon. So yeah. So let me know, in the chat, if you guys are enjoying other topics being thrown into the mix, especially with the lives where we're covering like a couple different things versus just one. Let me know if in the chat, if there's, one you'd rather hear more about than others. I did record another church message that I'm going to be posting. It's called, well, our pastor talked about running on empty. And so I thought, oh my goodness, like I think there's so many of us that feel that way right now. And so it was such a good message. So I tried to put that, I tried to be like Pastor Scott and be able to put it together as good. I'm not as good as him, but I could try to relay the message the best I can. And I don't do them often, but I do them when I feel called to share the message. And that was another message that I felt like a lot of us could hear. And yeah, I just felt like right now everything is so heavy. Everything is negative. It's just we're consuming a lot of negative. We're hearing a lot of negative, and I just think we could use that. It's just like a little break. And so for those who follow me that, you haven't taken your walk in faith or you're just not there yet, that's okay. You don't have to listen to those videos. But there are a lot of people who enjoy them. And so I'm trying to keep that in the mix because that's truly who I am. And I do enjoy sharing those. I know that the message did a lot for me. And so I would love to get to somebody who needs to hear that too, because a lot of times when I sit in church on a Sunday and he starts talking, I'm like, oh, that's for me. You can just tell. So Sam said, yes, I love being able to go over different topics and being kept in the loop on them. Awesome. Because I love talking true crime, and there's a lot of different things going on right now. There's a couple documentaries that I watched that I want to touch on because appeals cases are being done on them. There's a couple that are just interesting, so I'm going to be putting some stuff together on those, and so look out for those. I'm going to be filming something about more of this Charlie Kirk stuff, more of a deep dive into certain things to kind of show relationships that have been there for years. This is not just like, oh, people just like met because of Turning Point. And so that'll be a good one. Like I said, I'm putting that together. It's basically together. I just have to film it. So that'll be a good one. Again, to just kind of show that, this was not just like by chance everyone ended up at Turning Point. No, people knew each other prior to Turning Point from other things and other places, and kind of tying those threads together so that because you do hear them say, oh, like we didn't meet till Turning Point. And there's just a lot of stuff like that that's out there that's not true. So that'll be good too. Christmas elf lights, I love you so much. I see through to your soul you are goodness inside and out. Love you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I love you guys too. I love being able to do this, and I'm I want this channel to be a positive place where like I said, I will have a block list 1.5 miles long, guys. I'll never stop blocking the negative. There's enough negative in the world. We don't need that. And I don't want to have that kind of community here. I want to keep it positive. And so I I do my best. You know, I will have slow growth if I have to keep this community positive and caring and loving and fun. And yeah, we can talk about the bad stuff, but we don't have to be um, mean about it. We don't have to agree on everything. We can be respectful. And so I really am proud of the community we have here because everyone is just really, truly kind. And like I said, even if we don't agree or we don't like the topics, there's a way to go about that. And so I appreciate you guys and I appreciate the people that sit through these lives and spend their time listening to me talk about things that I care about. And you guys don't have to do that. You could spend your time elsewhere or doing other things. And sometimes you guys, don't, please enjoy your families. Those things come first. I always post my lives. For those of you that are new, I always post them to my page so you can always watch them after they're done. So if you can't make it when I'm trying to get a schedule together that I'm going to follow for lives. I want to put a schedule together. It's just I know that with my autoimmune, sometimes I get off track. Um, and so as long as you guys are good, if I have to reschedule or I don't feel well, then I can put a schedule together and then say, hey, we may have to alter this and swap out days. Again, there's 3 different level memberships for the channel. If you guys want to support the channel, feel free. If not, I understand the economy is bad again. Don't ever feel that you have to do any of that. Just please like, comment, share. That helps the channel. Share the channel with other people. And that helps in itself. And so I appreciate all of you guys. I'm going to read the super chat. Hope Bean 1, you've been here for a while and I appreciate you so much. You're always so kind. Thank you so much for the super chat. Hang in there, have a dinner date, but wanted to say thank you. God bless and keep up the great work. Thank you so much. Again, I truly love being here with you guys. And so for me, this is a blessing and I truly enjoy it. I like this kind of stuff. So for me, this is I feel blessed to say the least. I don't know how to explain it other than that. So I will continue to keep you guys posted. Obviously, with everything with Nancy Guthrie, it's like spinning our wheels. We're not really finding anything crazy out yet. All we know is the DNA from the blood on the porch does match hers, and that's about it. We're waiting for the gloves to the DNA to come back on those. We'll see what happens with the video footage that they recovered. I did hear that they were back at Annie's house not that long ago. So, but again, that doesn't mean anything. We don't know for sure what that means. Time will tell. Pray for the Guthrie family. Again, I know that people are like, she's 84 years old. We have a lot of nasty stuff happening with children and that is true, but this is still someone's mom. And I think it is important. She has lived her life, but she doesn't deserve what's happened. And it's sad. Yeah, I don't know. This reminds me of like a tactic of like, be quiet or else. It's kind of reminding me of like Charlie Kirk, like, okay, you don't get in line, you don't follow what we told you to do, you step outside, the box we want to put you in, and then this is like your payback. It's kind of like, it reminds me of like making an example of someone to show the masses how to behave in that sense. And that kind of that makes me feel really sick. So that's why I share the case, even though I know that there's other things going on. Again, I always say it's someone's aunt, sister, mother, brother. You know what I mean? Everybody deserves justice. Everyone deserves the truth. Everyone deserves answers, no matter what age you are. It doesn't matter. We have another super chat, or is it? Okay. Dr. Tetanus, you've been here for a while too. Thank you so much for the membership of you joining. I am doing my best, you guys, to add additional content to those areas. And so I will be adding a lot of shorts into the white level membership. That's where you're going to get your shorts and your more personal updates. And then the blue level is the highest level right now. And that's where you're going to get your longer content. and then obviously everything in the lower tiers. But what's nice about that is my longer content where I go over maybe unsolved cases. I did a video about the Jennifer Kesse case out of Orlando, Florida. They still don't know what happened to Jennifer Kesse. And it's been 20 years, and her parents are still trying to get answers for their daughter that disappeared into thin air. Always been a very bizarre case. And extremely sad. So I plan to even cover a lot of cases that we don't know what happened to that person, because every family deserves that closure. And I feel for the parents that don't get those answers before they pass away. And so I do think it's important to always keep talking about the victims, even if it's been 20 years. It's important to keep saying their name. Because at the end of the day, everyone deserves the justice for what happened to them, and the family deserves closure to know what happened to their daughter. So that's in one. I went over the Micah Miller case, which was another one that still has a lot of us stumped. I don't believe she committed suicide. I think a lot of people don't. She had a very terrible husband. If you guys followed that, there's a long form content video on that. I went over the Brian Koberger new information that came out about the autopsy results in the Idaho 4. And, they're trying to figure out what else could have happened there. Is there an accomplice? Is there, more to that story? A lot of interesting questions. The autopsy results were horrible. Again, it's so sad for the families. You just have to wonder what would push somebody to do something like that. And sometimes it is just something as unexplainable as like someone just snapped. It's the same thing with the Monique and Stephen Kesse, or sorry, Teppy. I'm getting all my names all messed up. If you guys are following that case out of Ohio, that was horrible. I'll be doing an updated video on that because there's just so much that's come out about Michael McKee. Coincidentally, he lives in Lincoln Park, Chicago, where I stayed downtown when I lived in Chicago, aside from obviously growing up there in the suburbs. He's just a disaster, to say the at least minimum. So I'll be doing an update video on that. The Brianna Aguilera case out of Texas, the A&M student who allegedly jumped to 17 stories to her death. There's interesting things there. So, oh, you can't wait for the update video? Yeah, Michael McKee is like, he's there's a lot of weirdness there. He has he's not I don't think he's very much a decent person. But it's crazy because he's this vascular surgeon, and you could just tell like his ego is just, it's huge, and his ego drives him, and it got the best of him this time. And he stood on after being divorced from Monique for 7 years. On, feeling like she owed him something, or he deserved everything and she got everything he wanted. And then drove from Illinois to Ohio to commit a murder and thought, oh yeah, I'm never gonna it. He's wild. So if you guys aren't following that case, I do have 2 videos up on that. And if you want to watch those just to get familiar with it. And then when I do the big update going into his past and their marriage before they got divorced, and how they're thinking all this transpired and all the weirdness of that, that would be good to get a background on. Trying to think of other things that I've also added. There's so many things that I have, like a list of everything that I'm going to be recording, and I've been putting all this stuff together. So there's going to be lots of fun things coming up that'll be posted. Let's see. Send me an angel. Maybe it reminds me of Patreon. Send me. Thank you. But yeah, I love talking about this stuff. In Arizona, TPUSA logos are on roadside campaign signs as in TPUSA supports this list of candidates. Yeah, there's a lot with Turning Point. It's crazy. Olympics, sorry, watching hockey. Okay. Benedict, you've been here for a while too. anyways, I'm not watching the Olympics either. I'm not supporting any of this stuff until we get stuff straightened out. There's a whole lot behind the Olympics and all the symbolism and all the stuff. So I'm not supporting any of that right now. Yeah, I'm disgusted with a lot of a lot of things. It's like it's all this stuff just makes you like not even want to turn the TV on, not want to do anything, which is sad. And it's you can't do it forever, but um yeah, you get aggravated, and there's days where you don't want to look at any of that stuff and give them the view or the rating. And the Olympics, I haven't really ever followed, I'll be honest. Just never was my thing. And then, yeah, when you look into the symbolism behind the Olympics, it's just like, yeah, I'll find something else. So I'm going to get off here, guys, because I'm going to try to see what's going on with the Nancy Guthrie case, get caught up on that so I'm up to speed. And depending on how many people and what develops, I will go live tomorrow if we have an arrest or if we get another ransom letter or if anything comes about with that case. I will go live probably right when it happens, unless it's like 2 a.m. So be on the lookout for that. I will keep you guys updated as that develops. And then I will be sure to get up to speed in some other things so that we can continue to stay on stuff. There's also some other cases that are interesting. There's a girl murdered in Kankakee, Illinois, which is not far from where I live, that I'm going to be going over that happened. There's a lot of weirdness there. So if you guys like true crime, you guys are going to really, really like the content that's coming, because there'll be several things. And yeah, I'll keep you guys posted. So I'm going to be getting off here so I can continue to work in the background and get caught up and be filming other things for you guys. And I will either drop the church message probably tomorrow morning. So if you guys are going to be looking for that, that will be up tomorrow morning. I'm guessing that'll probably be when I post it, and everything else will follow. Again, I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you so much for the super chats and for the memberships. I appreciate you guys so much. You guys are the reason the channel even exists. So if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be able to do this. So I appreciate you. Sam, thanks for coming on and for all the updates. Have a good rest of the night. You too, Sam. Have a good rest of the night. Thank you guys for spending 2.5 hours with me. Be blessed. Be safe. Be careful, guys. Continue to pray. Remember to please be kind to people. I know it's hard. I know that there's a lot of people right now that are, it's hard to have patience all the time, but try for me, because even I have to tell myself, like, I need to have patience and I need to do better. We can't change the world, usually with one person, but you can encourage other people to want to do better. And then hopefully that change sparks something, and so just try to be better. That's all you can do. None of us are perfect, but I do think right now we need to try to breed kindness and love and awareness and patience and all those things. Even though it's hard, it's not an easy time. So if I can leave you with anything, I want to leave you with that, and just pray on it. It's all going to work out. God is the only way through anything. I'm living proof of that. And so just keep that in mind. We appreciate you, Patriot Housewife. I appreciate you guys. Again, have a good night. I will see you all, I'm guessing probably tomorrow. Maybe I'll go live tomorrow night. We'll see. There's a lot of people live on Fridays, but we'll see. But definitely if anything happens with Nancy, you'll see me. So, all right, guys, have a good night. Thank you so much. I'll see y'all later.